The church was full. Not with peace. Not with love. But with silence. Heavy silence. The kind of silence that made people uncomfortable. The kind that felt wrong. Everyone wore black. Men in expensive suits stood near the walls with serious faces. Women sat quietly, whispering behind gloved hands. Security guards stayed at every entrance, watching carefully. At the front of the church was a large picture. His picture. A black frame around it. Flowers surrounded it. White roses. Candles. And beneath the picture was a closed black casket. The city believed he was inside. Dead. Gone forever. The most feared man in the city. The most dangerous mafia boss anyone had ever known. Luca Moretti. Dead. People still struggled to believe it. For years, his name had controlled the streets. His enemies feared him. His men obeyed him. Even powerful businessmen lowered their voices when speaking his name. But now, he was gone, and the city had come to watch the end of his story. Some people looked sad. Some looked nervous. And some were happy. At the back of the church stood men trying hard not to smile. His enemies. Men who had spent years hiding in fear. Men who had lost money because of him. Men whose businesses he destroyed. Now, they whispered quietly to each other. He's finally gone. About time. We can breathe now. Their smiles were small. Careful. But real. At the front row sat a woman dressed in black. Beautiful. Elegant. Broken. Her face was pale. Her eyes looked empty. Her hands rested quietly on her lap. But they were shaking. Slightly. She tried to hide it. Her name was Elena. Luca's wife. Or at least, she used to be. Now she sat beside another man. A man in a black suit. Sharp. Confident. Dangerous in a different way. His arm rested calmly on the arm of her chair. His eyes moved around the church like he already owned everything. His name was Victor Kane. Luca's worst enemy. The man who had spent years trying to destroy him. And now, he sat beside Luca's wife. Close enough to make people whisper. Close enough to make people judge. Some people looked shocked. Others looked confused. How did this happen so fast? How did the most feared mafia boss die? And his wife end up beside his enemy? Victor leaned slightly toward Elena. You need to look sadder, he whispered. Her jaw tightened. She didn't answer. Victor smiled. Small. Cold. People are watching. Elena swallowed hard and looked down. Her chest felt tight. She hated this. Every second of it. But she had no choice. The priest stood at the altar, speaking softly, talking about loss, about life, about death. Words no one was listening to. The air in the church felt too heavy, too warm, too still. Then, the church doors opened. Hard. The loud sound echoed through the room. Everyone turned. The priest stopped speaking. The whispers died instantly. Even the guards looked up. Heavy footsteps filled the silence. Slow. Steady. Controlled. One step. Then another. And another. The sound alone made hearts stop. A man walked in. Tall. Broad shoulders. Black suit. Black tie. His face calm. Cold. Unreadable. Dangerous. For a second, no one breathed. No one moved. It couldn't be. It wasn't possible. Elena's eyes widened. Her breath caught in her throat. The glass in her hand slipped. Crash. It shattered on the floor. But she didn't even hear it. Her whole body froze. Her lips parted slightly. Her eyes filled instantly. Luca! Her voice came out like a whisper. Victor stood up so fast his chair nearly fell. His face lost all color. His mouth opened slightly. No words came out. Fear, real fear, filled his eyes. Because the man walking toward them was Luca Moretti. Alive, cold, and more dangerous than before. The entire church exploded into whispers. No. It's him. He's alive. How? Luca ignored everyone. His eyes stayed locked on one person. Elena. He kept walking. Slowly. Calmly. Like death itself had entered the church. His face was harder now. Sharper. A small scar touched the side of his jaw. His eyes looked darker. Colder. More dangerous. He stopped in front of her. The room went silent again. Elena stood up slowly. Her body shaking. Tears filled her eyes. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Luca looked at her. Then his eyes moved slowly to Victor. And back to her. His jaw tightened. Then a small smile touched his lips. Not warm. Not kind. Dangerous. He leaned slightly closer. His deep voice broke the silence. Did you miss me? A pause. His eyes dropped briefly to the ring on her finger. Then back to her face. Wife. The church froze. Victor stepped back. Elena's tears fell. And in that moment, everyone knew. Luca Moretti had not come back for peace. He had come back for war. 4 years earlier, Luca Moretti was untouchable. At least, that was what everyone believed. He owned the city, his clubs, his casinos, his warehouses. His men controlled the streets. Money flowed like water. Fear followed his name. And Luca, he ruled it all with quiet power. He did not speak too much. He did not make empty threats. He made decisions. And people obeyed. That night started like every other. Luca sat in the back seat of his black car, his phone in one hand, his face calm as the city lights passed outside the window. His most trusted men sat in front. Marco was driving. And beside him sat Dante. Both had been with Luca for years. Men he trusted with his life. Men he called brothers. Luca looked down at the message on his phone. Warehouse 9. Urgent. One of his shipments had a problem. He frowned slightly. Problems were rare. And urgent ones, even rarer. Take me there, he said. Marco nodded. Yes, boss. The car changed direction. Everything seemed normal. Too normal. When they arrived, the warehouse looked quiet. Dark. Still. Luca stepped out first. 2 guards followed behind him. The cold night air touched his face. He looked around. Something felt wrong. Too quiet. He turned slightly. Where is everyone? No one answered. Then, boom. The explosion shook the ground. The front side of the warehouse burst into flames. Heat hit his body hard. The guards were thrown back. Luca fell to one knee. His ears rang loudly. Before he could stand, gunshots. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets flew through the darkness. One hit his shoulder. Another tore through his side. Pain exploded through his body. He stumbled back. His hand moved to his gun. He fired blindly into the dark. A man screamed. But more came. More bullets. More fire. More chaos. Luca turned. And froze. Marco stood there. Gun in hand. Pointed at him. Luca's breathing stopped. His eyes widened slightly. Marco. Marco's face was cold. No guilt. No regret. Dante stepped out beside him. He was holding a phone. And smiling. Luca looked between them. Slowly. Disbelief filled his face. You. Marco nodded once. It's over. Luca's jaw tightened. His hand pressed harder against his wound. Why? Dante laughed softly. Because dead men don't keep empires. Luca's eyes darkened. Then a new voice came from the shadows. Confident. Victor Kane. He stepped forward slowly. Perfect suit. Cold smile. Goodbye, Luca. Before Luca could react. Bang. The bullet hit him in the chest. The force threw him backward. He crashed through the broken railing behind him. And fell. Down. Into the dark sea below. The cold water swallowed him instantly. Everything became black. Silent. Empty. He should have died. Everyone believed he did. Victor celebrated. Marco and Dante took over his empire. His men switched loyalty. His money disappeared. His clubs changed owners. And Elena, his wife, was taken. But Luca didn't die. A fishing boat found him miles away. Broken, bleeding, barely breathing. An old fisherman and his daughter pulled him from the sea. 4 weeks. He drifted between life and death. Fever, pain, darkness. He woke up angry, weak, but alive. Months passed. His body healed slowly. His scars remained. A mark on his chest. A scar near his jaw. A reminder. Every day he trained. Every day he grew stronger. And while healing, he learned the truth. Victor had planned everything. Marco and Dante helped him. His men had been bought. His accounts emptied. His empire stolen. And worst of all, Elena was now beside Victor. Photos reached him. Victor at parties. Victor in his clubs. Victor in his home. And Elena, wearing black, standing beside him. Luca stared at the picture for a long time. His jaw tightened. His fists clenched. Pain burned in his chest. Not from the bullet. From betrayal. He trusted her. Loved her. And now, she belonged to his enemy. The fisherman's daughter looked at him one night and whispered, "What will you do now?" Luca stood by the window. His body stronger now. His eyes colder. He looked at the city lights in the distance. And answered quietly, "I'm taking back what's mine." His empire. His money. His men. His wife. And his revenge. This time, Luca Moretti wasn't coming back as a man. He was coming back as war. Everyone believed Elena betrayed Luca. The whispers followed her everywhere. She moved on too quickly. She married Victor for power. She never loved Luca. She was waiting for him to die. People talked without knowing the truth. People judged without understanding the pain behind her silence. They saw the expensive dresses, the diamonds, the cold look on her face. They saw her standing beside Victor Kane, Luca's worst enemy, and they made their own story. But the truth was far more painful. The night Luca disappeared, Elena waited for him. She sat in their bedroom, staring at her phone, calling him again and again. No answer. Her chest felt tight. Her heart refused to believe anything was wrong. Luca always came home, no matter how late, no matter how dangerous the night was. He always came home. But that night, he didn't. At midnight, the call came. Her whole body froze when she answered. A cold voice spoke. "Luca Moretti is dead." Her knees nearly gave out. The phone slipped from her hand. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't move. She screamed, the kind of scream that came from somewhere deep, broken, painful, real. Days passed in darkness. She cried until she had no tears left. She locked herself away, ignored everyone, refused food, refused sleep. Her whole world had ended. Then Victor came, not with comfort, not with sympathy, but with control. He walked into Luca's house like he already owned it. Confident, dangerous. Elena stood in front of him with red eyes and shaking hands. "Get out," she whispered. Victor smiled. Cold. "You don't speak to me like that anymore." Her jaw tightened. "What do you want?" Victor stepped closer. Slowly, he placed a file on the table. She frowned and opened it. Photos. Her mother. Her younger brother. Leaving school. Shopping. Walking home. Her heart stopped. She looked up. Victor's eyes were dark. Beautiful family. Her breath caught. "What is this?" Victor leaned closer. His voice dropped. A warning. Fear moved through her chest. Fast. Sharp. Real. "You touch them." Victor cut her off. "I won't have to." He pulled out another photo. Elena's eyes widened instantly. Her hand began to shake. The photo fell. It was a child. A little boy. Around 4 years old. Curly dark hair. Big brown eyes. Luca's eyes. Her son. Matteo. The secret Luca never knew. She found out she was pregnant after he disappeared. She hid the pregnancy. Protected the child. Raised him in secret. Only her mother knew. Victor smiled. You hid him well. Elena's body went cold. No. Her voice broke. Victor's face became harder. Marry me. Her eyes filled with tears. She shook her head immediately. No. Victor's voice turned deadly calm. Then your mother dies. He pointed at another photo. Your brother disappears. Then he tapped Matteo's picture. And your son, he smiled slowly, never gets to grow up. Her knees weakened. She held the table for support. Tears ran down her face. No. Victor stepped closer. You have until morning. Then he walked away, leaving her shattered. She spent the whole night crying, praying, begging God for a miracle. But morning came, and miracles didn't. So she said yes. Not because she stopped loving Luca. Not because she wanted power. Not because she wanted Victor. She did it to survive. To protect her family. To protect Matteo. Every day after that felt like prison. She wore expensive clothes. Smiled when people looked. Stood beside Victor at parties. Pretended. Lied. Survived. But every night, she cried alone. She opened Luca's old pictures, touched his face on the screen, and whispered, I'm sorry. She still wore his chain under her clothes, hidden, close to her heart. She still slept holding his shirt. She still loved him, every day, every second, every breath. And now, he was back, alive, standing in front of her, looking at her with cold eyes filled with pain and hatred. He thought she betrayed him. He thought she moved on. He thought she chose Victor. He didn't know about Matteo. He didn't know about the threats. He didn't know she was drowning alone. And that hurt more than anything. Because the man she loved looked at her like she was the enemy. Elena stood alone in her room that night after the funeral. Her hands shook as she held Luca's old picture. Fresh tears ran down her face. Her whisper broke in the dark. I waited for you. Her body trembled. I never stopped loving you. She pressed the picture to her chest and cried harder. Because now, the man she fought to protect had come back to destroy her. And she didn't know how to survive that pain. Luca Moretti was back. And the city felt it. Not loudly. Not at first. But in small, terrifying ways. The first warehouse burned at midnight. Flames rose high into the dark sky. Men ran out screaming. Goods worth millions turned to ash in minutes. Victor got the call while drinking whiskey in his office. He stood up so fast the glass fell from his hand. What? He shouted. The man on the phone was breathing hard. It's gone. Victor's jaw tightened. Who did it? Silence. Then, we found this. A photo was sent to his phone. Victor opened it. His face went pale. Spray-painted in black on the warehouse wall were 2 words. I'm back. Victor's hand shook. No. The second hit came 2 days later. One of his bank accounts emptied overnight. Millions gone. Transferred through fake accounts. Hidden. Untouchable. Victor slammed his fist on the table. Find it. But no one could. Then the third blow came. Men started leaving. One by one. His guards disappeared. His workers switched loyalty. His own right-hand man vanished. Victor's empire was shaking. And everyone knew why. Luca Moretti had returned. Stronger. Angrier. And far more dangerous. The streets whispered his name again. People who once feared Victor started bowing their heads. Clubs reopened under Luca's symbol. Old allies returned. Money flowed back. Power shifted. Fast. Victor stopped sleeping. Every sound made him turn. Every unknown number made his chest tighten. He checked security cameras constantly, held his gun tighter. And Elena. She was trapped in the middle. Victor watched her more now. Suspicious. Cold. You spoke to him? No. Did he contact you? No. Victor grabbed her arm one night. Hard. Don't lie to me. Elena winced. Tears filled her eyes. I'm not lying. Victor stared at her for a long moment, then let go. But his eyes were full of warning. She stumbled back. Her heart raced. She was losing air. Luca was back. Victor was panicking. And she was drowning between them. Then Luca made his move. It happened at night. Elena was leaving a charity event. Her heels clicked against the ground as she walked toward the car. The street was quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, a black van stopped beside her. The door slid open. Strong hands grabbed her. She screamed, "Let me go!" A hand covered her mouth. The world moved too fast. Then darkness. When Elena woke up, her head hurt. Her wrists were tied loosely in front of her. She sat in a chair. The room was dark, cold, silent. Her breathing quickened. Then, footsteps. Slow, heavy. Her heart stopped. Luca stepped into the light. Black shirt, dark eyes, cold face. Alive. Dangerous. Elena's breath caught. Luca. He didn't answer. He walked closer. Slowly. His eyes burned into hers. Not with love. Not with warmth. With pain. And anger. He stopped in front of her. Silent. Then finally, he spoke. Did you love him? The question hit her hard. Her lips parted. Fresh tears filled her eyes. What? Luca's jaw tightened. His voice got colder. Did you love Victor? Elena shook her head quickly. No. Luca laughed. But there was no humor in it. Don't lie to me. She cried harder. I'm not lying. His eyes darkened. You married him. Her shoulders shook. I had no choice. Luca stepped closer. So you say. Elena's tears fell faster. You don't understand. His voice rose for the first time. Then make me understand. The room shook with silence after that. Elena flinched. Luca turned away. Ran a hand over his face. His breathing was heavy. He looked broken. Angry. Lost. She whispered softly. I thought you were dead. He froze. She continued crying. I buried you in my heart every day. Luca's fists clenched. Her voice broke more. I waited. Her body shook. I cried for you. Luca turned back. His eyes softer for just a second. But then, he saw the wedding ring. And his face hardened again. His voice became cold. Sharp. Then why marry him? Elena closed her eyes. Pain moved through her chest. Because she couldn't tell him. Not yet. Not about Matteo. Not about the threats. Not here. Not now. She whispered. I can't tell you. That was enough. Luca stepped back slowly. His face became unreadable. Cold again. His voice dropped. Then maybe I should believe what I see. Elena shook her head wildly. No. But he turned away. And walked toward the door. She screamed through tears. Luca! He stopped. Just for a second. Without turning, he spoke. His voice low. Broken. Dangerous. I came back for revenge. A pause. Then. And you made it easy. The door slammed shut. Elena cried harder. Alone. Tied to the chair. While outside, the war between two dangerous men was only beginning. The war was getting worse. Every day, Luca Moretti took back more of what belonged to him. Victor Kane lost another warehouse. Then another club. Then millions disappeared from his accounts. Everywhere Victor turned, Luca was there first. Everywhere Victor looked, his empire was falling apart. Victor stopped pretending to stay calm. He shouted more, broke glasses, smashed tables, hit walls, and sometimes he hurt Elena. One night, he stormed into her room with wild eyes. His face was dark with anger. His breathing was rough. He grabbed her throat and slammed her against the wall. "Tell me where he is," he shouted. Elena clawed at his hand. Tears filled her eyes. "I don't know." Victor squeezed harder. "You're lying." She could barely breathe. Pain shot through her neck. Her body weakened. Then a knock came at the door. Victor let go hard. She fell to the floor coughing. He turned. One of his men stood there nervously. "Boss." Victor snapped. "What?" The man swallowed. "We found something." Victor cursed and stormed out. Elena stayed on the floor, shaking, crying, holding her throat. Her body trembled. She couldn't keep doing this. She couldn't stay here anymore. And worse, Matteo was no longer safe. That night, she made a choice. She escaped. She wore black clothes, covered her face, waited until the guards changed shifts, then slipped out through the back gate. Her heart pounded as she drove. She kept looking behind her, praying Victor was not following, praying Luca never found out, praying she wasn't too late. She drove far outside the city, to a quiet little house hidden behind tall trees, a place no one knew. Her mother opened the door. "Elena!" Relief filled her face. Elena rushed inside, and there, a little boy sat on the floor playing with toys. Curly dark hair, big brown eyes, soft cheeks. He looked up and smiled. "Mommy!" Elena dropped to her knees and hugged him tightly. Fresh tears filled her eyes. "My baby!" Matteo wrapped his small arms around her neck. "I missed you." She cried harder. "I missed you too." Her mother stepped closer. "What happened?" Elena stood slowly, her face pale, her hands shaking. "We have to leave." Her mother frowned. "Tonight?" Elena nodded quickly. "Yes, right now." But before anyone moved, a sound came from outside. Car doors slamming. Voices. Men. Elena froze. Her blood turned cold. "No, no, no." Her mother grabbed Matteo quickly. "Elena!" Then the front door opened. Slowly, heavy footsteps entered. Elena stopped breathing. Luca stepped inside. Black suit, cold eyes, hard face, alive, dangerous. He looked at Elena first. Then his eyes moved to the little boy. Everything stopped. Luca froze. Matteo stared back. Big brown eyes. The same eyes. Luca's breathing changed. Slow, heavy, confused. The room became silent. Elena's lips parted. "Luca!" But he didn't answer. He took one step closer. His eyes stayed on the child. Matteo held his toy tightly and whispered, "Mommy." Luca's jaw tightened. His eyes moved over the boy's face. The curly hair, the little nose, the eyes, his eyes. His whole body stiffened. His voice came out low. "Dangerous. Whose child is that?" Elena's eyes filled instantly. Her whole body shook. "Luca!" His voice rose louder. "Whose child is that?" Matteo flinched and started crying. Elena rushed forward and held him tightly. Luca's chest rose and fell. Pain, rage, confusion. His voice dropped again. Cold, sharp. "Is he Victor's?" The words broke her. "No." She screamed it. Luca froze. Her tears fell fast. Her voice shook. "He's yours." Silence. Complete silence. No one moved. No one breathed. Luca stared at her. His face lost color. Elena cried harder. "I was pregnant when you disappeared." His breathing became uneven. She held Matteo tighter. "I found out after they said you died." Luca looked at the boy again. The same eyes. The same stare. his son, his child, his blood, alive, real. Matteo looked up slowly. His small voice filled the silence. "Mommy, who is he?" Elena cried harder. Luca's eyes filled with something he had not felt in years. Emotion, pain, love, shock. He stepped forward slowly, then knelt down. His voice softer now. Broken. "What's his name?" Elena whispered. "Matteo." Luca looked at him. Really looked at him. And something inside him broke. Matteo stared at him and asked softly, "Are you crying?" Luca laughed once. A broken laugh. He touched his face. Tears. He had not even noticed. Luca Moretti had come back for revenge. But in one moment, everything changed. Luca Moretti stood frozen. His eyes locked on Matteo. His son. His child. His blood. Alive. Breathing. Real. Everything inside him shifted. The anger. The revenge. The pain. It was still there. But now, something stronger stood beside it. Love. He looked at Elena. Her face was wet with tears. Her arms wrapped tightly around Matteo. Protecting him. Always protecting him. And suddenly, Luca understood. Not everything. Not yet. But enough. Enough to know she had not been living in peace. Enough to know she had been surviving. The room was silent. Then, a phone rang. Sharp. Loud. One of Luca's men answered. His face changed instantly. "Boss." Luca stood up. His eyes turned cold again. "What?" The man swallowed. "Victor knows where we are." Elena's blood ran cold. Her mother gasped. Matteo held Elena tighter. Luca's jaw tightened. "How?" The man looked nervous. "There's more." Luca's eyes narrowed. "Say it." The man hesitated. "Then we found out who told him." Silence. Luca's body became still. Dangerous still. "Who?" The answer hit like a bullet. "Dante." The room froze. Elena's eyes widened. Luca's face changed slowly. Dark. Cold. Deadly. "Dante." Not Marco. Not Victor. Dante. His right-hand man. The one he trusted like a brother. The one who ate at his table. The one who swore loyalty. Luca's fists clenched. His breathing slowed. And that was worse. Much worse. Elena whispered softly. "Luca." But he had already turned. His voice dropped low. Deadly calm. "Get them out." His men moved fast. Elena grabbed his arm. "Wait." He looked at her. His face unreadable. "You stay with Matteo." Her eyes filled. "Luca, please." But he pulled away. Cold. Focused. And left. The drive was silent. Luca sat in the back seat. Gun in his hand. Eyes dark. No emotion on his face. Only death. The car stopped outside an old warehouse. Rain poured hard. Thunder shook the sky. Luca stepped out slowly. His men followed. Armed. Ready. The warehouse doors opened. Inside, Dante stood waiting. Gun in hand. A few men behind him. His face pale, but trying to stay calm. Luca walked in slowly. Rainwater dripped from his coat. His voice came low. Controlled. "Why?" Dante swallowed. Said nothing. Luca took another step. His eyes burned. "I trusted you." Dante laughed nervously. "You trusted too much." Luca's jaw tightened. Dante's breathing shook. "You had everything." He shouted now. "The money. The power. The wife." Luca's face darkened. "And it still wasn't enough?" Dante's eyes filled with anger. "I was nothing beside you." His voice echoed in the warehouse. "No one saw me." He pointed at Luca. Everything was Luca Moretti. Luca Moretti. His chest rose fast. His hand shook. "I got tired." Silence. Luca stared at him, then nodded once. Slowly. "I see." Dante frowned. What? Luca raised his gun. Fast. Bang. The shot echoed. Dante screamed. The bullet hit his shoulder. He dropped his gun. Fell to his knees. Luca walked closer. Slow. Calm. Terrifying. Dante cried out. Please. Luca crouched in front of him. His voice soft. Too soft. Did you beg when you betrayed me? Dante shook. Cried. No. Luca tilted his head slightly. Did Elena beg? Dante froze. Luca's eyes darkened. Did my son almost die because of you? Dante's tears fell. Luca stood. And fired again. Bang. Dante dropped. Still. Dead. The warehouse went silent. Only rain. Only thunder. Only death. Luca stared at the body. His chest rose slowly. No relief. No peace. Just emptiness. Then a phone rang. One of his men answered quickly. His face changed. Boss. Luca turned. The man's voice shook. Victor took Elena and Matteo. Everything stopped. Luca froze. The gun slipped slightly in his hand. His face lost color. No. The man swallowed hard. They're gone. Luca's breathing changed. Fast. Dangerous. His eyes darkened with something worse than anger. Fear. Real fear. His wife. His son. Gone. Luca turned slowly. His voice came low. Deadly. Find them. He looked up. Rain hitting his face. His jaw clenched. His eyes burned. Victor Kane had just made the biggest mistake of his life. No. This was no longer war. This was personal. Luca Moretti had never known fear. Not real fear. Not the kind that made breathing hard. Not the kind that made his chest feel tight. Not the kind that made his hands shake. But now, he felt it. Elena was gone. Matteo was gone. Victor had them. And Luca's world stopped. The warehouse was silent except for rain hitting the roof. Luca stood still. Gun in hand. His jaw tight. His breathing rough. One of his men stepped closer carefully. Boss. Luca turned slowly. His eyes were dark. Dangerous. Find them. His voice was low. Deadly. The men moved fast. Phones came out. Calls were made. Cars started. Guns loaded. The whole city moved. Luca's empire woke up. Every street. Every club. Every warehouse. Every hidden place. His men searched everywhere. Victor's houses. Victor's clubs. Victor's businesses. Nothing. No sign. No Elena. No Matteo. Luca broke things. Smashed tables. Threw glasses. Shouted orders. His breathing became heavier every minute. Then a phone rang. Everyone froze. One of his men answered. Listened. Then looked up. Boss. Luca stepped forward. What? The man swallowed hard. We found Victor. Luca's eyes darkened instantly. Where? The answer came fast. Warehouse 17. Luca grabbed his gun. And moved. Warehouse 17 stood near the sea. Old. Dark. Broken. Rain poured hard. Thunder cracked above. Luca's black cars stopped outside. Doors opened. Men stepped out. Armed. Ready. Luca stood in front. Gun in one hand. Knife in the other. His face looked like death. He didn't wait. He kicked the warehouse door open. Boom. Gunshots started instantly. Bang. 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 Chaos exploded. Luca's men fired back. Bodies dropped. Men screamed. Glass shattered. Bullets hit walls. Wood broke. Blood spilled. Luca moved through it all. Cold. Fast. Deadly. He shot one man. Then another. Stabbed another with the knife. Kept moving. Kept killing. His eyes searched. Only searched. Elena. Matteo. Victor. He heard a scream. Elena! Luca turned. At the far side of the warehouse, Elena was tied to a chair, bruised, crying. Matteo sat beside her, tied too, crying loudly. Luca's heart stopped. Elena! She looked up. Fresh tears fell. Luca! Victor stepped out from the shadows, gun in hand, smiling, cold. You came. Luca raised his gun instantly. Victor laughed. Careful. He pressed his gun against Matteo's head. The whole world froze. Elena screamed. No. Luca stopped moving. His whole body went still. Victor smiled wider. There he is. Luca's jaw tightened. Let them go. Victor laughed. You really changed. Rain hit the broken roof. Thunder shook the air. Victor's eyes darkened. You came back for revenge. He pressed the gun harder against Matteo's head. But now you'll die for family. Elena cried harder. Please. Luca's breathing became rough. His finger tightened on the gun. Victor smirked. Drop it. Luca didn't move. Victor shouted. Drop it. Matteo cried loudly. Luca dropped the gun. Victor smiled. There. Then. A loud gunshot echoed. Bang. Victor's body jerked. His eyes widened. Blood spread across his chest. The gun fell from his hand. Everyone froze. Victor looked down slowly, then fell. Behind him stood Elena, breathing hard, shaking, a gun in her hand. She had done it. Luca moved fast. He ran, untied Matteo first, pulled him close. His son cried into his chest. Then he untied Elena. She fell into him, crying, shaking, alive. Luca held both of them tightly. His breathing broke. For the first time, Luca Moretti cried. He held his wife. He held his son. And everything else disappeared. But then, Victor coughed. Blood filled his mouth. He laughed weakly. Luca turned slowly. Victor smiled. A broken smile. And whispered, You still don't know. Luca stepped closer. Victor coughed again. Blood spilled. Then he whispered, Marco was never the first. Luca froze. Victor smiled weakly. Your brother. Silence. Luca's face changed. Victor laughed once. Then his head dropped. Dead. The warehouse became silent. Only rain. Only breathing. Only shock. Luca stood still. His wife alive. His son alive. His enemy dead. And a new truth had just begun. The rain had stopped. But the storm inside Luca Moretti had not. He stood in the middle of the broken warehouse. Elena in his arms. Matteo pressed tightly against his side. Victor Kane was dead. The war was over. At least, that was what everyone believed. But Victor's final words still echoed in Luca's head. Your brother. The words refused to leave. His jaw tightened. His eyes darkened. His body stiffened. Elena looked up at him. Her face pale, bruised, tired. Luca. Her voice was soft, careful. But Luca didn't answer. He looked down at Matteo instead. His son. Alive. Safe. Real. The little boy's eyes were swollen from crying. But he was breathing. That was enough. For now. Luca knelt slowly. His large hands touched Matteo's small face. Gentle. Careful. Like he was afraid the child would disappear. Matteo looked at him quietly. Big brown eyes. The same eyes. Luca's eyes filled again. His voice came out rough. Broken. Are you okay? Matteo nodded slowly. Then whispered. Are you my daddy? The question shattered him. Elena covered her mouth. Fresh tears filled her eyes. Luca laughed softly. A broken laugh. Then nodded. Yes. Matteo stared. Then smiled. Small. Shy. And threw his tiny arms around Luca's neck. Daddy. Luca held him tightly. Closed his eyes. And broke. All the anger. All the pain. all the revenge. For one moment, it disappeared. He held his son and cried. Elena cried too, watching them, watching the man she loved become soft again. Luca stood up slowly, still holding Matteo. He looked at Elena, really looked at her. The bruises, the tears, the fear, the love, and guilt hit him hard. He stepped closer, his voice low, painful. I'm sorry. Elena's lips parted. Fresh tears fell. Luca swallowed hard. His eyes stayed on hers. I thought you betrayed me. Her body shook. He looked down, ashamed. I hated you. Elena cried harder. Luca's voice broke. And I was wrong. She stepped closer slowly. Her fingers touched his face. Gentle, warm. I never stopped loving you. Luca closed his eyes. The words hit deep. She whispered again. Not for one day. He opened his eyes and kissed her, softly, slowly, like he was apologizing, like he was coming home. Elena kissed him back through tears. Matteo laughed softly between them. Luca smiled. A real smile. Small, but real. The first in a long time. Weeks passed. Victor's empire fell fast. His clubs were shut down. His money was taken. His men disappeared. Luca reclaimed everything. His warehouses, his clubs, his casinos, his streets. The city whispered his name again. Not with doubt, with fear and respect. Marco was found, hiding, terrified. He begged, cried, lied. But Luca gave no mercy. Marco disappeared, forever, and the truth about Elena came out. People learned she had been forced, threatened, controlled. The whispers stopped. The judgment ended. And once again, she stood beside Luca, not as Victor's wife, as Elena Moretti, where she belonged. Matteo moved into Luca's mansion. The empty halls changed. Laughter filled the rooms. Tiny footsteps ran through the house. Toys covered the floors. Life returned. Warmth returned. Love returned. Luca changed. He still ruled the city. Still dangerous. Still feared. But at home, he was softer. He smiled more. He laughed. He carried Matteo on his shoulders. He held Elena at night. And for the first time, he slept in peace. One evening, the family stood on the balcony. City lights glowed below. Elena stood beside him. Matteo asleep in Luca's arms. Luca looked at the city, then at his family. His voice came low, soft. I came back for revenge. Elena smiled. He looked at her, then Matteo, and finished. But I stayed for my family. Elena rested her head on his shoulder. Luca kissed her forehead. And in that moment, Luca Moretti finally understood. He had won back his empire. But the greatest thing he got back was the family that was always his.